Hey guys, Pit Master here. We're going to talk about UFC 229. This is Sensei UFC. We don't really have that many techniques we're going to go over per se for this one, but we're going to go over a lot of very valuable, educational, and entertaining content. Content is king, people. All right, let's talk about the fights. Did you like them?
I did like them.
Where'd you watch them at Bulldogs?
Travis Young's house.
Oh, that's better. Safer over there. All right. Well, let's talk about the fights. We're going to go from the main event down. Okay. Khabib versus Connor McGregor. Connor McGregor has...
No gas tank?
He has a low gas tank, and he always has. I think that's genetic, and I think he trains his ass off. But I think if you can take him past the second round, you can beat him. I don't care who you are. It could be Mayweather. It could be Khabib. It could have been Watterson or Herring. It could be Holly Holmes. It doesn't matter. If you bring him past the second round, I think you have a good chance of beating him. Maybe not, maybe I'm exaggerating, but you get my point. Khabib is like a fucking monster. He's like the bear on the Revenant. He is like the bear on the Revenant, and Conor McGregor was like the actor. What was his name?
DiCaprio.
He was like DiCaprio.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
That's what it was. Conor was like DiCaprio, and Khabib is like the fucking bear on Revenant. He mauls people. Once he gets you to the ground, you're DiCaprio. Yeah, that's what it's like. Standing, it looked pretty close. I thought it would be all McGregor and Khabib would be scared. He dropped him with a right hand, and he was standing with him.
Stood in front of him a lot.
He stood in front of him. He's just like, let's go. He's like, let's go, bro. Once the fight is past the first and a half or second round, I don't think people are very intimidated by McGregor anymore. And Khabib is just so good. He's so good at everything. He trains at AKA. So he doesn't just, they don't just have like some of the best wrestlers there. They also have some pretty good strikers. You know, so he is getting much better. And Conor is too, but I don't think Conor's getting as much better as Khabib is.
You think he's still hungry for fighting?
I think he's still hungry for fighting.
Made a lot of money. I don't know. Sometimes people lose motivation when they're.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But no, I don't think he did. No? I think it's still inside. I think he just still he still has it. Okay, he lost. He.
All of his losses, all four were submissions that he tapped.
Oh really?
All his four losses were from submission. And he tapped.
Let me tell you about tapping and submissions. When your gas tank is empty, right? Your courage leaves you with your endurance, right? You know that, right? When you start getting tired, your courage leaves you because
people don't know that.
Once you get that tired, fear starts setting in because there's no worse, let me tell you this firsthand, there's no worse feeling in the world than being completely freaking gassed and you know you just don't have it anymore, and you look in your opponent's eyes and they still do.
They're like the Terminator.
It's scary shit. So what do? In boxing, kickboxing?
Hold them, stall.
You try to hold them, you try to stall. I've seen guys so tired, exhausted, and frustrated with Lomachenko, they just quit in the corner. They just tap their fucking thigh and say, I'm done.
I can't anymore.
But not many people do. Not many stand-up fighters will do that. So they'll just keep fighting until they're knocked out. Like McGregor, he wasn't able to tap against Mayweather, so he just kind of let the referee intervene. Okay? And in MMA, when you're really tired or really hurt, you can tap, and that's the way it should be. But it's your way of It was like, it's your way of doing a no muss. You guys remember the Roberto Duran no muss when he fought Sugar Ray Leonard?
Well, I was little, but I heard about it.
Yeah, you did hear about it.
Boxing, it's boxing.
Yeah, it was boxing.
Not MMA.
And it was boxing. Roberto Duran's fighting Sugar Ray Leonard, and Sugar Ray Leonard just beating him at everything, embarrassing him, slipping punches, mocking him. So Roberto Duran, I forget what round it was, he said, I quit, no muss, no muss. That's where the no muss came from. He said no muss, they didn't have bad cramps. And everybody was like, I think they were like burned down his house in Panama. He got arrested, got beat up in his hometown. I'm exaggerating. But people don't like that. They think you're quitting. But in MMA, when something happens and you're uncomfortable, you just tap and people are okay with that. And I'm okay with that, and I think that's good. I think that keeps the sport a lot safer. But he does tap, and he got caught. He got caught in a really bad, it looked like a neck crank. But anyway, so, I don't know. It's just, the whole thing around, after the fight, Khabib was being yelled at by one of Connor's cornermen,
Dennis,
who happens to be a pro fighter. So he jumped over the cage, which he shouldn't have done, but he jumped over the cage to confront another pro fighter. I don't see the big deal of that. I don't think it's right. I don't think it shows good sportsmanship, but you got another pro fighter, one of your peers, one of your equals is calling you out. So you jump over the cage and you engage him. He wasn't starting the riot. The riot was incited by Connor. Connor incites riots. We know that. Okay, he's done that before, right? Remember, he jumped over the cage and got into Jose Aldo's face. He has no problem doing that.
No, and then he went into a Bellator event. His friend lost. He jumped the cage, shoved the ref, went after the ref.
He actually jumped. He jumped the cage. He jumped out of the cage to confront Jose Aldo after a fight. Nobody said a word about that. Okay, and he actually jumped the cage the other way to get into the cage in a Bellator match. So Connor does that jumping the cage thing. It's not that big of a deal. Nobody makes that big of a deal. It's actually against the rules, and the commission tells all the fighters before each fight, do not get up on the cage. Even just to straddle it and wave, they're not supposed to do that. That's why sometimes you see the commission guys pulling them down. Sometimes they just let it go. But it's told to every fighter before every fight, do not get up on the cage, do not climb over the cage. But almost every fighter does. And Connor's done it going into the cage and going out. So it's not like an unheard of thing. So I don't think it was that big of a deal. I don't think it was nearly as big of a deal as throwing a steel dolly through a bus. I don't think that's nearly as bad as that. And I don't think it's nearly as bad as ramming into someone at a stop sign or a stoplight, seeing they're bleeding, and then running away so you could save your own ass. I don't think what Khabib does is like 1/10 as bad as either one of those things. So I hope he gets a slap on the wrist, but he should not get sanctioned more than that. What he did was not criminal like what those other two guys did. So that's how I feel about that. Really.
I agree.
So
emotions.
It was emotions and yada yada. Okay. Let's go real fast on the Ferguson fight. Ferguson, Pettis, I'll admit, I thought Anthony would have been beaten just because he hasn't been looking like he's that hungry lately.
Is it looking like Showtime?
But he was Showtime this fight, let me tell you. He went at it. He was hurt, and he had enough inside to do it like a fucking cartwheel kick.
That was cool.
I mean, he was getting pounded, sticking his tongue out. I mean, it was such a good show of both men. So it's like, the fight before that was a great fight, but it showed no Bushido, no respect, no martial arts. That was a cage fight, and it shouldn't be called a martial art. MMA, no. But then you watch the Ferguson Showtime Pettis, it was all martial arts, all respect, all skill, all heart. That was a great fight. Ferguson ended up winning in the second round, I think. Mm-hmm. No, fourth round.
What do you guys think? Was it fourth? I thought it was third.
Third?
He survived the third, he didn't come out on the fourth.
Okay, so fourth. Yeah, because his hand was broken. Okay. So that was a good one. Then we got OSP. He got stopped by Reyes. Reyes is going places at 205.
He looked good.
Reyes looked freaking great. He did everything right. He was like slipping and catching uppercuts. He looked so good. OSP is a really tough, really good guy. But this Reyes guy, you're gonna see him fighting for a title.
One of Joe Stevenson's guys.
Oh yeah?
Big Joe Daddy?
Yeah, Joe Daddy.
That's his guy.
Wow, that's good.
He's in the corner. I can see him in the corner.
He is really good. He is really good. And then we get the lowest, Derek Lewis against the Russian. One thing, like you pointed out earlier, when you're fighting someone like Derek Lewis, it doesn't matter where in the fight it happens. If he touches you with his fist, you're gonna get knocked out. I don't care if you're 10 points ahead. If it's the third round, and this happened in like the last 10 seconds of the third round. He was losing everything. But that's why they call it a puncher's chance. If he can lay his hands on you, you're gonna get knocked out. And the opposite with McGregor. McGregor, after the second round, he could hit you all day long and he's not gonna hurt you anymore. His gas goes, and with his gas goes his punch. Derek Lewis was very tired, but he still has that natural, powerful punch, so no matter how exhausted he was, and he was very exhausted, he'll still knock you out if he lays his hands on you.
That was the most exciting thing, I think, of the whole card.
Oh,
that moment.
That what?
That moment, everybody just caught up.
Oh, it was crazy.
They already kind of like,
It was great. It was great. So, great fight. That's the only fights we're going to go over. And then Lewis was so funny after the fight. He pulls his pants off after the fight, and he just has his underwear on. And he's holding his pants in his hand, and Joe Rogan said, "Why did you just take off your pants?" Because my balls was hot. My balls was hot. He gained over, this is a true story, he gained over 500,000 Instagram followers after that. He gained over 500,000 Instagram followers from the time he did that until the next morning. He got over 500,000 Instagram followers. Unbelievable. Anyway, so it was a great night. It was, I hate to see disrespect. I don't think it was that big of a deal. It was disrespectful, but I think he just wanted to fight one other fighter, and that fighter should have been willing to fight him, so I don't see what the big deal was there. The rioting, I think, was mainly incited by the McGregor group, those Irish guys. I've seen it happen before in other fights. I saw them rioting at the MGM after one of his wins, and they actually set fire to stuff, and the SWAT team was called in, and it was an ugly riot. I was there.
I was at the McGregor DS2 in August 2 years ago for the second fight. And I was rooting for Diaz, obviously Diaz camp, but then afterwards leaving, it was dangerous.
So
even the arena, the outside, it was getting out of control. Even when they won, so they were celebrating, pushing cars.
Imagine when they lose, yeah. So I think the rioting, I think that's a given that that's because of McGregor and his guys. So I don't think Khabib can be blamed for that. Jumping over the cage, not the smartest thing, not the greatest thing in the world. He wanted to go fight another fighter, not a huge deal. Like I said, McGregor did it to go assault Jose Aldo, and he did it, he jumped in the cage, which he should have been arrested for. Like they're talking about arresting the guy that jumped in the cage and hit him. Did he get arrested for jumping in the cage and hitting the guy at Bellator? Kind of weird how that works that way. Anyway, I'm out of here. This is Sensei UFC. We just did a lot of talking on this one, but on most of our Sensei UFCs, it's more about showing different techniques and stuff. Stay tuned on this channel. That's what you're mainly gonna see. Today, we just wanted to vent. Thanks for coming, guys.